What does it take to become a doctor? These are the real-life stories of McMaster University's med students. On this episode of Med Students, Dar gets his first patient, Rupinder survives pediatrics, and Brynlea takes on general surgery.
Well done. Not bad for a woman.
Where does Mommy work, Michaela?
Hospital.
Yeah, at the hospital.
With the help of her parents, third-year student Brynlea Barbeau is juggling motherhood, med school, and long-distance marriage.
Yeah, this is pretty typical. I usually get up around 5:30, start things off. Usually try and eat, make my lunch, get my daughter ready, get myself ready, then be out the door by 6:30. Yeah, just protect it. Let's go watch Mommy get in the car. It's okay.
Life is pretty demanding, but Brynlea has just one more rotation to get through before she graduates. General surgery at Brantford General Hospital. Surgeons have a reputation for being pretty tough on med students. This morning, Brynlea is assisting Dr. Ian Kesserum. He's a taskmaster. She's got to be on her toes.
You're the chief. You're the leader.
Dr. Kesserum's first patient has a suspicious lump in her breast and needs a biopsy.
I've never seen a breast biopsy done before.
Dr. Rupinder is in the midst of a 24-hour on-call shift for pediatrics.
You know, the fatigue starts to set in a little bit, and you hold on to your vacation times in your calendar and you mark off the days. But, you know, the whole reason we're doing this is because this is what we wanted to go into. So I try to have as much fun at work as I can.
Clinical rotations can be exhausting, but Rupinder has found ways to survive.
Never stand when you can sit. Never sit when you can lie down. Eat when you can. Sleep when you can. Never let them see you eat or sleep. Those are the first 5.
You never told me these.
No, I gotta give you my list.
Okay.
He loves to share his survival rules with whoever will listen, like med student Christine.
So what are the other rules?
Oh, I wish I had them all committed to memory.
Yeah.
Never talk about patients in public areas. You never know who's listening. And never talk about your staff in public areas, because you never know who's listening. You make a mess, clean up the mess. If you make your seniors look good, they'll make you look good. Don't try to be a hero. Know when you're in over your head. Know when to ask for help.
Brynlea stands by as Dr. Kesserum sets up for the biopsy.
Garbage.
But before starting on the patient, Dr. Kesserum starts in on Brynlea.
You love them. Describe it.
Okay, it's not very
You don't feel with one finger. You feel with a hand.
full hand. It's not very well defined. It feels sort of nodular. It's at about 12 o'clock.
That's 12 o'clock?
That's 12 o'clock.
Okay, where?
Superior to the areola. Okay.
Be very specific when you find something.
Okay.
All right? Because it's absolutely important for communication purposes.
Okay.
All right? Turn this light on for me.
Sorry, you want the light on?
Yeah, just a little bit better.
Is that better or worse?
Worse. Jesus. Did you put that light on there?
I did. I moved it.
Holy Christ.
Rupinder's first call takes him to the hospital nursery.
Sorry, are we waking you up?
Anthony is 12 hours old and may be having trouble breathing.
So the worry was that baby had a little bit of respiratory distress, nasal flaring.
And a little bit of intercostal
Indrawing?
indrawing.
Yeah.
Respirate was about 56.
I'm not seeing any of the nasal flaring now, so whatever you're seeing before is resolved. Are you chilling? Oh, you're shivering up a storm, aren't you? Right now, baby just looks fantastic. Adorable little thing, especially after, 12 hours. It's had a pretty rough day. So, I think give baby a chance to have some time with mom, and statistics being what they were, the baby will probably do just fine. Okay, so we take baby back to mom.
So what do you know about breasts anatomically?
They're composed of, they're on the pectoralis major muscle.
Well, there are basically 3 types of tissues. There's ducts, lobules, and supporting stroma.
Okay,
That's all you need to know.
okay.
Okie dokie.
Brynlea has made it through the biopsy surgery and the constant grilling.
I like when the surgeons kind of get you to think and ask you questions and kind of make you think through the whole process. So Dr. Kestrom was doing that, and that was helpful. So, yeah.
But she's not off the hook yet. She'll be back in the OR with Dr. Kestrom this afternoon.
Excision lesion. So, yeah, I'm imagining that that's a lipoma removal on the back, which is a lipoma is like a collection of fat sort of underneath the skin. So it looks like that's the next thing we'll be doing, and I've never seen that done either.
It's the first day of clerkship for second-year med student Dardal Shahi. His wife, Micheline, makes sure it's not a bad hair day.
What? Like, not stupid.
As a clerk, Dar will have his own patients.
Just gonna do this.
He wants to make a good impression.
How's that?
Do you usually wear a tie to work?
Not usually, no. In fact, I'm not very good at tying them up either. But I thought it's the first day, so. We've been married for just under 2 years. I need some adjustments to it. Yeah. Thought so.
Inside for shorter.
All right. I'll go back and do this tie thing again. I'm very dependent on Michelin now. She's paying the bills. Basically, she's putting me through school. So I'll phone you. I'll try and phone you anyway during the day, but if I get the call, I'll phone you right away.
So this morning?
What did I do this morning?
Yeah.
I got up early, put some clothes on.
Dar meets up with the other new clerks for orientation.
Yeah. So basically, I forgot everything we went so far.
Life is about to get very complicated very fast.
Call starts weekdays 8 till sort of when you're done seeing your patients the next day, noonish, whenever we can get you out.
First day. I guess we don't find out who wins Survivor then, eh?
Whoa!
Rupinder's next patient is having respiratory problems.
Want to sit up so I can look in your ears? Look up and down.
A sick, tired toddler needs special handling.
There we go, perfect. I didn't run towards him. I didn't say, okay, well, I'll get the history from mom, and then all of a sudden this gigantic guy is going to come and descend upon you. Started engaging him first, got down at his level, sort of worked my way towards him a little bit. Open your mouth big for me. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Nice and big, nice and big. Stick your tongue out. Make a dinosaur noise for me. That's good. That works a lot better than sort of swooping in on a kid and scaring the crap out of them, which occasionally happens. What was that for? Had enough? Basically what I'm doing now, I've gotten the history from the parents and what little history I could get from the young fella. And I'm going to put it together in a note so I can present that in a sort of a more clear and focused form to my attending physician as well. That becomes part of the chart. So This is the part where I get accused of writing novels.
So far, Brynlea's holding her own with the surgeons.
Depending on how Dr. Kessram feels, sometimes they'll actually get you to do the excision, or I might just be assisting, maybe just doing the suturing at the end. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how comfortable he feels.
She's introduced to the next patient by Dr. David Hiroma.
Hi there.
Hi there. This is Robert Simpson.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Robert's had a lipoma on his back.
Oh, wow.
And if you come over here, if you just examine it, just sort of get the measurements.
It's quite firm, probably about, about 10 or 12 centimeters in length and probably about 7 or 8 in width, and it's quite firm. Okay.
Thanks.
My routine is going to be waking up with bedhead every day. That's my routine.
Clerkship is a time for students to learn how to apply their knowledge to real patients. It's also a time to learn about pagers,
Yeah, I'm 3812.
emergency codes,
The intern that's on call that day will have a code pager.
security,
I was fine until I had to remember all this stuff.
and finding your way around an unfamiliar hospital.
We're looking for a reef. Do you know if that's a reef there?
Dar and classmate Bobby Malicki tracked down their supervisor, internal medicine specialist Dr. Paul Keith.
Normally, you would have been on call with the team last night and you would have picked up your own patients, but because you weren't, we'll assign you some patients this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally, it's time to focus on medicine.
So these are our medical students. This is just their first day on internal medicine, but not their first day ever in medical school. Yeah. But they're just going to listen and ask questions, okay?
Have you been in the hospital before for this type of pain?
Yes. Yeah, but this is congestive heart failure.
Oh, I see.
Dar's first patient has been brought to the ER with chest pain.
What I like about the idea of being a doctor is what essentially is a type of community service. I mean, you're helping people get better health, or even in the cases where you can't get a person better health, you're giving them the tools that they can use to cope with their everyday problems. Yeah, have you done anything differently in the past few days, like changed your medications?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so and you haven't felt any differently in the past few days either?
No.
Okay. As far as life and death decisions go, I'm confident with the fact that I won't have to make any right now, and that's a good feeling.
Mrs. Duncan will be moved to the internal medicine unit for further testing.
We're going to keep it probably till tomorrow, all right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I'd rather go home today.
You'd rather go home today?
Yes, if I could.
We'll talk to you a bit later, okay?
Okay.
Brynlea gets ready for another surgery and another go-round with Dr. Kessram.
Start in the middle of the workout and don't come back to where you started. That's good. Next stick.
What's that?
That's it. Get rid of that stick. Don't put it back in there.
But instead of giving her a hard time, Dr. Kessram gives Brynlea an extraordinary opportunity.
Yes, yes.
Well, I think I drew a line this way.
He teaches her how to make the first incision.
Yeah.
Right, so you're going to make an incision like that. So cut along the dotted line.
Like paint by number? Okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Stop. Yeah, make it deeper because that's not moving through there.
Okay.
Not too deep. That's good. Layer by layer, Grant's time. You gotta press the button first.
Yeah, I am. It's not.
You're kidding.
Not every surgeon gives their student a chance to do more than assist.
You just have to kiss it. Yeah, just like that. So take your finger and do this.
Yep.
Okay, and then just sort of see if you can whip it out.
Scooping out the lump turns out to be a little tricky. Dr. Kessram gives her a hand.
It's really big.
lights on, so on, and there you go. How are ya? Good. You look pretty good.
Rupinder has supervising pediatrician Dr. Moyaz Ladeni examine Josh.
Can you take your shirt off for a second?
No.
Can we lift it up?
No.
Oh boy.
Show me your belly.
Show me your muscles
belly?
again, huh? Come on.
Rupinder gets to confirm his observations and learn from Dr. Ladeni's style.
What are the big bumps?
Look up to the light there.
I think one of the most valuable things about being on call and working closely with the staff physician is that every single staff physician has a different style with the kids. It's fascinating how, one physician might approach a kid a completely different way from another. You can't get that out of a textbook.
So right now, guys, he's having an asthma attack. Okay?
Josh will be kept overnight until he's breathing normally.
Yeah.
Brynlea and Dr. Kesseram have worked as a team to remove the lump from their patient's back.
So that's basically it.
So tomorrow I have my academic day, but you're on call tomorrow. So I'll be back in Brantford maybe around 2 o'clock. So.
Please don't hurry.
Oh. Listen to
He'll
it.
phone you if there's anything.
I know you'll miss me like a toothache. Come on.
Can I go home now, Mom?
Sure.
Okay.
Up on the internal medicine unit, Dar reads Mrs. Duncan's chart.
The medicine isn't the hard part. It's reading the chart that's the hard part. Reading the handwritings, learning all the acronyms. So you need to learn that pretty quickly, and it can slow you down quite a bit if you're not comfortable doing that.
He hopes to discover what brought on her chest pain.
Mrs. Duncan, I met you downstairs.
Yeah.
So my name's Dar.
Yes, Dar.
I'm going to be looking after you for however length of time you're here.
I see.
And I know you don't want to be here much longer, I guess.
I don't.
Okay. Now, do you have high blood pressure normally?
Yes, I do.
You do, eh? How long have you had that for?
Oh, maybe 10 years.
Oh, okay. It sounds pretty good so far. Your blood pressure's a little high right now, though. But you're still really keen on going home, I guess. Right?
Well, see how things turn out.
Yeah.
I would prefer being at home.
Yeah.
Dar has not yet solved his patient's problem,
You just let the nurse
but he
know.
seems to have made a good impression.
Great.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you. I'm still a student, so you can
Oh,
call
are
me
you
Dar.
still a student?
Yeah, just call me Dar. Okay.
It's the middle of the night, and something very unusual is happening down in pediatrics.
Well, it's 2 in the morning now, and I actually had to check my clock to make sure. Things have sort of, don't want to use the Q word, because you say that and you want to curse yourself for the night, but things have gotten a little bit tonight. And I'm going to zip down to the car and see if I can get a little bit of shut-eye. My favorite hallucinogen is sleep deprivation. I liken being on call with a beeper to trying to sleep with a grenade next to your head. You're sort of looking at it with one eye open, waiting for it to go off.
Rupinder rarely gets to sleep for more than an hour before another sick child needs his attention.
There you are. How are you doing?
Dar presents his patient to Dr. Keith.
Her blood pressure was 180 over 102 around noon. The Atenolol was given at around 3, and then we reassessed the blood pressure at 430, but still about 175 over 88.
Was she able to walk around today at all, or she hasn't really been up? You haven't
Well,
been up at
I
all?
did walk from my bed in the emergency out to the front desk.
Well, what do you think, Dar? Do you think she can go home?
Not today.
No.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of it today.
You've decided you're going to stay with us, have you?
Yes, till tomorrow anyway.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then we
Yep.
should be getting the echo results back. I gave my assessment, and he agreed with it, and I caught the hypertension.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, so it was okay. it's a little flavor of what's to come. And I think each year we're just gonna, basically the workload just gets a little, double, triples and whatnot. So I think we got a sense of the beginning of the process. I think the tie was a good choice. I like the color, and I think it looked professional.
It's 7:30 now, and surprisingly, I went to bed about 2:30 or so. So I haven't been paged in the interim, except for one page this morning, which was a false alarm. Some people would say, well, you got about, half a night's sleep. And for me, I got a great night's sleep. When you're on call, if you get 2 hours or 3 hours, you're thankful. But I've had somewhere close to 5, and that's pretty impressive for being on call.
But Rupinder's shift doesn't end until noon. He'll need to fall back on his survival rules to get through the last 4 hours.
Yeah, thanks. There's one thing you learn very quickly in a residency. Caffeine is your friend. And the last and probably most important rule of surviving clinical medicine, when you go home, get a life.
Brynlea has the afternoon off to spend with her family. Every other weekend, her husband tries to fly in from Sault Ste. Marie. With graduation a few weeks away, Brynlea is hoping for a residency placement in Northern Ontario so they can all be together again.
Here we go. Here's George.
Oh, let's see.
Mommy will color the teddy bear. It's important to spend time with your family. It's just, I think, medical school, you can spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week studying if you wanted, and you still wouldn't know everything. I have to keep a balance. Like I can't spend all my time doing school stuff. I'm tired of, dividing my time between two places, and it'll be nice to be all together.
On the next episode of Med Students, Adriana heads to labor and delivery. Sarah tries to keep up with orthopedic surgeons. And Dar deals with an agitated patient.
Okay, you have security up there?